Out of all the tools that you could use going into 2026, this is the number one tool in the tool deck that you need to have because it scales so well with everything else. It's easy to use and it's cost effective to get the job done and finding new leads. Awesome. So yeah, I got SalesMind actually before it switched into SalesMind. I got going before you guys transitioned. Did the merger there, working with Brom. And I've used it now for a few different offers with two different companies. So I've tested it, and every market that I brought it to, it's performed very well. The amount of conversations I've had with specifically this tool only, not even factoring in posting content on LinkedIn or anything like that, just using this tool by itself, I'm having 3 to 5 conversations daily with the automation explicitly. It's extremely easy to set up. It's given me zero problems. My biggest concern going into a LinkedIn automation tool was, am I going to get flagged? Is LinkedIn going to get mad at me? I haven't had a single warning or an issue with my account, and that's using it on 2 different offers on one account, and it didn't even matter. So the experience has been really good. I've used other LinkedIn automation tools that weren't nearly as easy to use or as straightforward. Um, and I want to say the biggest thing for me that's probably like the nicest to start a new campaign is the search feature that you guys have for the leads built right in. That is a dream. And then I start a campaign with that, and then I'll go into Sales Navigator and build campaigns from there as well to follow up. But the way you guys scrape initially with the inputs, it's so easy to do just right in the system. It's been great.
That sounds great. And then what are the feature? What is the main feature you're using about the AI lead finder?
So the biggest thing is like just targeting on the different personas I'm looking at, and the I think there's a way to do it on industry as well. So just picking that and having it run and just grab certain contacts that are relevant to what I'm looking for with very minimal input has just been great.
I see. And then you mentioned you tried different automation tool on LinkedIn. What was the challenge that you were aiming to solve with the automation, and then that you haven't found with any other solution?
So the main I used a tool called LinkedIn Helper at one point, and I think another one called like Duck Soup, I want to say. Um, and they just I mean, I didn't really get any results from them. They weren't as sticky, they weren't as intuitive. I will say a big thing with your platform that I didn't do with the others is I got a really intensive onboarding from Bram. He actually sent me up with my first campaign. He kind of holded my hand through it, and that made it extremely easy for my first rip. He helped me through that, so I think that was a big reason too that I've been successful with it. Is he guided me with best practice how to set it up to begin, so I really didn't have any confusion to get going. And then off that, I've been able to run my campaigns pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then what is the problem you're trying to solve with the automation on LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah. So the biggest problem is like just manually DMing people is super labor intensive. Among the other tasks, calls, emails, and everything else I'm doing because I run email automation as well. It's just a task that frankly wouldn't get done at all if I didn't have the automation tool. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't really happen. It was one of those things that like I'd make a goal to try to get some in, it would never happen consistently. And now I have the tool, I set it up, plug it to run with 1,500 contacts. And with the limitations of a LinkedIn account, you can't go too crazy. So that 1,500 contacts will last me a while. And I found that running a longer campaign with multiple touch points of viewing, following those soft touches first, yeah, it's not going to be super fast in conversion, but it's building that kind of digital rapport. It's kind of building that familiarity. So when you do get that connection request and that message out, it's just that touch more used to the person that you're sending it to. So they're going to be higher likely to accept, right? And so that's kind of how I run my campaign. So when I set one up, it's kind of set it and forget it. And I just deal with inbound messages and have conversations related to what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The soft touches are actually a good way to integrate the lead in the funnel.
Yep.
and let them visit your profile and try to understand by themselves what you're doing. So your LinkedIn profile is actually the thing that convert them initially. It
Right.
acts as a digital twin, basically.
Right.
And then what make you choose SalesMind over other solution on the market?
So I think it was the support that you guys offered. Instantly really connect. When I first spoke with Brahm, I was just like, man, this guy's great. Young dude, but super helpful, speaking my language, knows exactly what he's talking about. No bullshit, no corporate stuff. I know you guys are a younger kind of startup company, right? So I was like, this sounds more interesting than some of these other bigger tools where I'm never going to even talk to anybody. So that personal connection was a big reason, to be honest. The second was, yeah, the other tools I used, I didn't get traction with immediately. And with SalesMind, my first campaign, I was seeing conversations within, I think, 2 days, like basically immediately, which is, I mean, that's unbeatable, really.
Yeah, that's really where we put the focus. We understood that the person on LinkedIn may be the right target for you, but if they're not active on LinkedIn, they will never answer. So we have put the
Yes.
priority on contacting the people that are active, and we measure the activitiness of those
Yep.
profiles and says mine.
Yep. And that's definitely your AI search tool is doing that filtering and putting those people to the top of priority. And it shows. It's very apparent. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So that's great. We are doing in the right direction for the sales industry. But can you explain a little bit more about how has SalesMan AI impacted your sales process or daily workflow so far?
Yeah. So I would say at this point, with email, cold calling, trade show leads, other things, Sales Mind, and LinkedIn, but it's really Sales Mind that's making this happen, is probably 60% of all my conversations are beginning from SalesMind out of everything else. And I'm a big cold email guy. I do a lot of volume. I send probably 2,000 to 2,700 emails a day across typically a 3-step campaign email. And I get a fraction of the response that I do on email that I get compared to with SalesMind. It's not even close.
Where do you think the difference in between those numbers come from? The difference between cold email and LinkedIn DM.
I think it's a couple things. I think one, people on LinkedIn uh, are there to engage and level themselves up in business. So by people being on LinkedIn, it's kind of like a pass through filter. If somebody's there, they're caring about leveling up their career, connecting with others, learning about business, advancing their business, gaining skills. On email, you could be emailing somebody who hates using a computer and never checks their email. But if they're on LinkedIn, you're already getting that level of pass through that they're more, uh, bit easily. I don't want to say easily, but more open to sales influence for different offers. Is so as step one. As a step two, um, tying my personality, my face, my experience, my other connections at that first interaction is light years different than a cold email where you don't get any of that personalization, right? So, and again, I love email, but LinkedIn is just another level. And what I found was really interesting when I use it for my day job where I sell software to fire chiefs, you wouldn't really think fire chiefs are huge power users of LinkedIn. And across the board, they're not. But the ones that are on LinkedIn are guys that are more receptive to technology and what I sell. So it's screening out the people who I maybe not won't will even have that good of a sales call with before I even talk to them, which is beautiful and really helpful.
Yeah, that make a lot of sense. And then it builds a lot of social proof on LinkedIn
Huge.
itself. And you
Exactly.
if you can engage with their content and you creating content as well, that just
Yep.
optimization. So SalesMind is basically the foundation of the outbound on LinkedIn. But the
Yep.
more you do on it, the more optimized the result can be. That's great.
Absolutely.
And how much time has SalesMind saved you or your team?
Oh man, it's really even hard to calculate because like I said, like I've always tried to do like consistent DM work and I never really fit it into my schedule. It's kind of one of those arduous tasks that I just didn't really end up doing and focused on other things. the amount of time I put into SalesMind, like actually spent setting up the campaigns, finding leads. I mean, across two different jobs that I'm using it for, I maybe spent a collective 10 hours total, and I've been using the platform for months. I mean, it saves a ton of time. It's so intuitive and easy. I would say, with what it's doing with automation, probably hundreds of hours over the past 3 months with what it
Yeah,
does.
that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And then you because you mentioned having used other solution in the market, how does SalesMind compare to other solution from your point of view?
It's the my other use with the software is limited. The biggest thing is like I really didn't get anything meaningful from the other ones. It was a little bit more confusing interface wise, getting things set up. I didn't have the handheld experience that I got from Brom on your team, and it just didn't really go anywhere. And SalesMind has gone everywhere. That's kind of the key difference.
Yeah, I think if I could explain what we're trying to differentiate ourselves with is because we're aiming to be an end-to-end solution. So we get the lead for you, we engage them, we reply
Yep.
them, we help you to reply them, we make the analysis and so on.
Yep.
While other tools, they send message
Yep.
and we are building funnel.
Yep.
Would you recommend SalesMind to others and why?
Yeah. So I already have recommended to a couple people, and the one group that I'm working with is I recommended them first. They said, "Hey, buy this software, and I'll manage it for you." And so that's what I'm doing for them, and they're happy with it, right? So I'm already, I definitely call myself a power user of the software. I recommend it to anybody that's going to do outbound. And I actually have a new side hustle where I'm bringing in some sub affiliates, and I'm going to recommend it to all of them to go out and do their own outreach with this tool as well because it's so easy. The affordability is certainly there for the value. So it's one of my top things to recommend actually as far as outbound.
That sounds amazing. And one last question is,
Yep.
if you could describe SalesMind in one sentence, what would it be?
Um, Out of all the tools that you could use going into 2026, this is the number one tool in the tool deck that you need to have because it scales so well with everything else. It's easy to use and it's cost effective to get the job done and finding new leads.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. And you're not ready for what we're preparing for 2026, or at least you will get when we get there.
Cool.
But we're working on very exciting stuff for next year and to
Excellent.
make the outbound even more effective. All
Cool.
right. So I think that was pretty much it in terms of questions that I had for you today. Is there anything else you would like to share? Anything else you would like us to go through today?
Um, no, but I mean, any new things you got, happy to beta test for you if that's on the table. As soon as you got new stuff, let me know. I'm down to try it out. Everything's been working great, and I'd love to scale more into it if I can. Whatever else I can do. You guys are doing a killer job. Especially, you came into a market that had a level of saturation. There's a good amount of tools out there. And I just can't even compare you to the other ones. It's not even close because of that end-to-end framework, like you mentioned. Like you can do everything right there. And it keeps it very simple.
All right. Thank you very much for those feedback. We really appreciate. I will share that with the team, and we also can use this for our content.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing everything again. Wonderful to hear a success story like yours, and hopefully more incoming.
Yeah. Awesome. And if you guys need anything else, let me know. But yeah, use this however you need to, chop it up, whatever you want to do. It's all good. I appreciate everything.
Sounds great. We'll let you know, Ben, and happy to hear anything from you anytime. If you have any feedback about how we can better do anything on the platform, more intuitive or easy to understand or whatever, please feel free to shoot us an email and we'll look into it.
Sounds good. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
very much, Ben, and have a wonderful end of the day.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.